Back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? In this video, I'll summarize the plot points that will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see what happens. Welcome back to our channel, dear viewers, on this absolutely beautiful and drama-filled day. We are thrilled to have you with us as we dive deep into the treacherous, shadowy corners of Genoa City. Today, we are unraveling a web of deceit so intricate and so emotionally devastating that it threatens to tear apart the very fabric of our favorite families. Settle in, because the twists we are about to explore will leave you breathless. Genoa City is a town built on a foundation of whispered secrets and buried lies, but a sudden, seismic revelation has just shattered the fragile peace, sending violent shockwaves through the highest echelons of power. The unthinkable has finally happened. A meticulously crafted financial conspiracy, designed with the sole malicious purpose of stripping a powerful matriarch of her remaining assets, has been dragged into the unforgiving light of day. At the dark center of this explosive scandal is none other than Matt Clark, a man whose horrifying past is only eclipsed by his current insidious ambitions. The revelation of his ultimate betrayal threatens to destroy lives, ruin corporate empires, and ignite a merciless war that will leave absolutely no one unscathed. As the dust settles on this catastrophic discovery, the citizens of this divided town are left reeling, wondering how such a massive deception could occur right under their noses. Who could have possibly predicted that a simple, seemingly innocent flirtation was actually masking a predatory, cold-blooded corporate takeover? The suffocating tension begins to simmer when Matt Clark, utilizing every ounce of his dangerous magnetic charm, successfully convinces Phyllis Summers to accompany him back to the Shadow Room. This is no ordinary venue. It is a club steeped in memories, dark corners, and the lingering ghosts of past mistakes. Phyllis, a woman who prides herself on her razor-sharp instincts and impenetrable emotional armor, finds herself inexplicably drawn into Matt's toxic orbit. As she steps into the dimly lit, pulsating atmosphere of the club, the air thickens with unspoken desires and hidden, lethal agendas. Matt's ability to lure Phyllis back into this specific environment is a masterclass in psychological manipulation, playing expertly on her vulnerabilities and her insatiable appetite for risk. But what is the true, hidden cost of her stepping back into the darkness with a man known for his lethal unpredictability? The sight of Matt Clark casually strolling into the Shadow Room alongside Phyllis sends an immediate, visceral jolt of fury through Noah Newman. Noah, who has painstakingly built this club as a sanctuary and a testament to his own independence, views Matt's presence as a direct, unforgivable violation of his personal territory. The history of trauma that Matt has inflicted upon the Newman family, particularly the horrifying abuse suffered by Noah's mother Sharon, and the recent kidnapping of his father Nick, boils over in Noah's veins. He confronts Matt with a fiery, righteous rage, ready to physically eject him from the premises and banish him to the streets. Yet, in a surprising twist of restraint, Noah relents, driven by a complex calculation of keeping his enemies close where he can monitor their every move. But how long can Noah suppress his explosive anger before it consumes him entirely and leads to a violent confrontation? Noah's reluctant concession, however, comes with a severe, non-negotiable ultimatum that sets the stage for future conflict. He allows Matt to remain on the premises under one strict, unbreakable condition. Matt must stay absolutely away from Sienna Bacall and Audra Charles. Noah is acutely aware of the toxic, destructive gravity Matt possesses, and he is fiercely determined to protect the women in his life from falling into Matt's psychological traps. Sienna, who is already grappling with her own traumatic history and the terrifying gaslighting she has endured, is particularly vulnerable to Matt's presence. Audra, with her ruthless ambition and complicated past with Noah, is a wild card that Matt could easily exploit to cause maximum chaos. Noah draws a firm line in the sand, establishing a perimeter of protection around the people he cares about. But will a man like Matt Clark ever truly respect a boundary? Or is this ultimatum merely an invitation to cross it? Oblivious to the true depth of the danger surrounding her, Phyllis engages in a sharp, cynical banter with Matt that crackles with electricity. She ruthlessly mocks his recent, transparent attempts to win over Kane Ashby. Phyllis, who has navigated the treacherous waters of Genoa City's corporate warfare for decades, finds Matt's efforts to ingratiate himself with the newly appointed Chancellor Industries CEO utterly ridiculous. She dissects Matt's strategy with surgical precision, pointing out that a man of Kane's current stature and paranoia would never hand over the keys to the kingdom to a known grifter with a spotty memory. Phyllis's laughter is a shield, a way to assert her dominance in a conversation fraught with underlying peril and unspoken threats. Yet, in mocking his ambitions, is Phyllis blinding herself to the terrifying reality that she might be his actual primary target? Amidst the verbal sparring and the clinking of glasses, a fragile, deeply dangerous pact is formed between the two manipulators. Phyllis, holding the explosive secrets of Matt's past, promises not to expose his true, monstrous nature to the world or ruin the fragile life he is trying to build. She agrees to keep his history buried, a decision driven by her own tangled web of resentments and strategic calculations. Phyllis makes it abundantly clear that she harbors zero trust for Kane Ashby, viewing him as a manipulative opportunist, and she holds an even deeper, more venomous distrust for Victor Newman. By keeping Matt's secret, Phyllis believes she is maintaining a chaotic element on the board, a wild card that could potentially disrupt Victor's iron-fisted control over the city. But is keeping a venomous snake in your pocket ever a sound strategy, or is Phyllis guaranteeing her own fatal bite? Matt, never one to simply absorb an insult or accept a subordinate position, fires back with a retort that cuts straight to the bone. He reminds Phyllis, with a chillingly seductive smile, that she is hardly a paragon of virtue or trustworthiness herself. He holds up a mirror to her own long history of betrayals, corporate espionage, and emotional sabotage, leveling the playing field. Yet, instead of pushing her away, Matt uses the shared moral ambiguity to draw her closer, weaving a spell of dark camaraderie. He flirts with a dangerous intensity, claiming that he wants to strip away her defenses and see the true Phyllis Summers, the woman beneath the corporate armor and the sarcastic quips. This toxic validation is a potent drug for Phyllis, who often feels misunderstood and vilified by the Genoa City elite. Will this mutual recognition of their darker selves be the very thing that seals her ultimate doom? The psychological dance reaches a surprising, breath-catching crescendo when Phyllis, who had previously and emphatically rejected Matt's romantic overtures, suddenly accepts his invitation to dinner. This shocking reversal leaves the audience reeling and the power dynamics entirely shifted. What has shifted in Phyllis's calculating, ever-turning mind? Is she leaning into the danger, thrilled by the adrenaline of playing with fire? Or does she genuinely believe she can outmaneuver a man whose entire existence is built on deception and ruin? By accepting the date, Phyllis crosses a critical threshold, moving from a cautious observer to an active participant in Matt's twisted, high-stakes game. As she prepares for an evening that promises to be equal parts romance and warfare, one must wonder, who is truly the predator, and who is the prey in this deadly courtship? The atmosphere leading up to their dinner is thick with an almost suffocating tension, a prelude to a battle fought with smiles and subtle touches. Every glance, every tailored outfit, every carefully chosen word is a weapon in their ongoing psychological warfare. Phyllis steps into the evening believing she holds the upper hand, armed with the knowledge of Matt's past and her own formidable intellect. Matt, meanwhile, plays the role of the captivated suitor to absolute perfection, masking his predatory intentions behind a veneer of charm and vulnerability. The dinner is a high-stakes chess match, with both players anticipating the other's moves while hiding their own devastating endgame. But as the wine flows and the conversation deepens, the line between manipulation and genuine toxic attraction begins to dangerously blur. Can Phyllis maintain her objective distance, Or is she falling headfirst into an inescapable emotional abyss? While Phyllis dances on the edge of a cliff, Noah Newman refuses to let his deep-seated suspicions rest. Driven by a fierce, protective love for his family and an undeniable gut instinct that Matt is orchestrating a massive catastrophe, Noah launches a clandestine, thorough investigation. Utilizing his extensive resources and his intimate knowledge of the digital underworld, Noah begins to track Matt's hidden movements and communications. He digs into encrypted files, offshore accounts, and the subtle, seemingly innocuous transactions that Matt has been executing since his miraculous return to Genoa City. Noah knows that a man like Matt Clark does not simply seek romance. He seeks total annihilation and absolute control over his victims. What terrifying secrets lie buried in the digital footprint of a man who claims to have no memory of his violent past? Noah's relentless digging finally strikes a horrifying, undeniable vein of truth that changes everything. The evidence he uncovers is not just incriminating, it is absolutely apocalyptic for Phyllis Summers. Noah discovers that Matt's flirtation with Phyllis is nothing more than a meticulously crafted smokescreen for a devastating, hostile financial takeover. Matt has been systematically manipulating Phyllis, exploiting her vulnerabilities and her distraction to quietly gain control over her remaining assets and business ventures. The documents reveal a web of fraudulent transfers, forged signatures, and shell companies designed to siphon Phyllis's hard-earned wealth directly into Matt's blood-stained hands. The sheer scale of the betrayal is breathtaking, a testament to Matt's unparalleled capacity for cruelty and greed. How will the mighty, unyielding Phyllis Summers react when she learns that her latest romance is actually a ruthless corporate raid? Armed with this irrefutable, devastating proof, Noah faces an agonizing, heart-wrenching dilemma. He holds the power to save Phyllis from total financial ruin, but doing so requires shattering her pride and exposing her profound, embarrassing vulnerability. Noah understands the complex, often adversarial relationship Phyllis has with the Newman family, but his fundamental decency and his desire to protect the innocent compel him to act. He meticulously compiles the dossiers, the bank statements, and the digital logs, preparing for a confrontation that will undoubtedly be explosive and emotionally draining. The burden of this truth weighs heavily on Noah's shoulders, knowing that the fallout will not only devastate Phyllis, but will also ignite a massive, uncontrollable war with Matt Clark. Will Noah's intervention be the saving grace Phyllis desperately needs, or will it be the spark that detonates the entire city? The climax arrives with the force of a hurricane, sweeping away all illusions and lies. Noah tracks down Phyllis, his face a mask of grim determination, and demands her undivided attention, refusing to take no for an answer. In a private, tension-filled room, Noah lays the compiled evidence on the table before her, exposing the ugly truth. He doesn't mince words. He walks Phyllis through every fraudulent document, every manipulated asset, and every cold, calculating step of Matt's financial plot. As Phyllis's eyes scan the papers, the color drains from her face, and the world as she knows it tilts on its axis. The illusion of the charming amnesiac suitor shatters into a million jagged pieces, replaced by the horrifying reality of a predator who saw her not as a woman, but as a bank vault to be cracked. The humiliation and rage that wash over Phyllis are palpable, a visceral reaction to being so deeply, profoundly used. How does a woman of such immense pride survive the crushing weight of such a total, devastating betrayal? The aftermath of this revelation leaves Phyllis Summers standing at the precipice of a terrifying, uncertain, new reality. Forced to face the harsh, unforgiving truth about Matt's real intentions, the vulnerability she allowed herself to feel instantly